Okay. Welcome everybody to this first session in the series of webinars which I'm going to provide here. Those seminars will turn around writing in English, which is indeed easy, and which is just like algebra, as I say. Yeah? English is much easier than Russian, than any other European language, and definitely than any other Asian language, Oriental language, right? With which we're not going to cope. But so we start theory with the basics, but these basics will work with an academic paper of any level, absolutely. Never mind how you speak English. People will help you. When you write, they will not understand. So the logic is of paramount concern. Yeah? Yulia, can you switch off the microphone so that we can proceed? Okay, so let us start. It will take us about an hour for today, and then going to continue with punctuation and other things which are strictly connected with what we are starting with today. So probably we will move like in a spiral. That is our main principle of teaching skills, right? The development like a spiral. That is, you start with some basic principles, but they will turn on and on. Yulia, can you switch off the microphone, please? You can turn on and on, right? Taking in again and again the same things that were involved in the basic, right? So it's like dancing. You start with some primitive step, then move on, and it will help you develop. Okay, and you develop more and more complicated movements. This will be the same. So we are starting. I will switch on to my okay, so demonstration of the screen. Just a moment. Okay, like this, because otherwise the animation wouldn't work. Right? Here we are. Just tell me if you will see the first slide. Is it visible now?
Yes, it's okay.
Yes. Now switch off your microphones, but anytime you feel like asking a question, put it down on a piece of paper or somewhere. Put a tick for yourself, because sometimes students, anybody who attends seminars or webinars, sometimes they run ahead, yeah? And the answer will be further. So, but if you insist that we make a pause here, right? Just interrupt me, okay? Switch on your microphone and we will interact. I will immediately tell you that in the end of this, so I will ask you, not in the end, but even in the middle, I will ask you questions. Whenever you want to answer, and I very much I look forward to your involvement so that you interact. So don't forget to switch on your microphone and then switch it off, okay? Come on. So we are starting this session with ruling the sentence. And the English sentence is indeed, is it visible, ruling the sentence? Yeah. The idea is that the English sentence is a constitutional monarchy that was announced, right? But let's start with the very beginning. So what is language? I will give you a brief introduction on that, where your problems actually start. Any language contains vocabulary and grammar, any language in the world, because vocabulary involves how you name things and actions or whatever, qualities, right? You have some words to connect, or whatever elements like in Chinese, right? And the ways of connection. Those ways are different. Vocabulary is changeable. It's like leaves on the tree. You know, it's an oak, or this is an elm, this is a bridge. How do you know? By the form of the tree, yeah? It is always the same, but the leaves grow and fall, and how many leaves is not important, right? The tree may stay bare, right? And still, this is Russian, this is Chinese, this is English, okay? So grammar is that trunk of the tree and roots of the tree. So how we work, and it's limited. I'd rather quote a wonderful man who happened to be my teacher at school in the Soviet day, David Nathan Bell, a Texan American. And he was a marvelous man, and he said, vocabulary is an ocean, but grammar is a pond. Indeed, vocabulary is uncountable. You will never know all the words, but grammar is a pond, it's limited. So grammar is to give information the right way. That's where we are with writing, because nobody uses any body language. Nobody will ask you questions. You need to be absolutely explicit. That's why it is so important. You need to be understood properly. So to use grammar is this, to understand it the right way. Yeah. So the problem is that there is difference in how we connect words into ideas. But in English, it's very mechanical, it's logical. There are no illogical connections. There is nothing to memorize. Vocabulary is typically memorized. Grammar is just used, right? In Russian, we are a synthetic language with so many inexplicable things. So the problem is your Russian thinking when you write English. It is much easier to obtain the same kind of thinking like in English, rather than for English speakers, right, native speakers of English, to obtain those horrible Russian skills of organizing ideas. So again, quoting David Bell, either you say it as they say it, or if you don't say it as they say it, you say it wrong. Yeah? So they will misunderstand you, misinterpret you, which is especially horrible when you write. I will give you an overall scale of our sessions, so including future sessions, what I will concern in this logical course, right? And we will start immediately with what I considered for today. So actually, there was a mistake there. There is the word order. There are nouns, right? Look at it, look at it, look at it. How many time categories do we have in Russian? So you would say definitely 3, right? You think English is different? No, right? We have 1 2/3 of a tense. That's the Russian problem. We have very strange articles. If you think we don't have them, we do. And the best way to cope with English articles is to translate your Russian articles properly. We'll cope with it later on in a later session. And prepositions, which are horrible. Actually, we don't need prepositions because we have cases, падежи. If we have so many падежи, do we need those prepositions? Войти в комнату, right? So, изъять из оборота, да? Сойти с поезда. We repeat the same thing again and again. Отойти от стола. You see? Масло масляное. So in English, you have only prepositions, and that's right. And as they don't have any cases, prepositions are important. So let's have a look at the English language. So the word order seems to be fixed. It is used to be known as a fixed word order. Nouns have only one form: organizations, right? Colleges, lightnings, houses, walls, whatever. Yeah? Just compare to the Russian. Adjectives have one form: beautiful, beautiful organizations, beautiful girls, beautiful windows, beautiful plants, flowers, whatever. Yeah? To the beautiful plants, from the beautiful plants, right? The verb How many time categories do they have? Absolutely the same. Everybody in the world copes with 3 time categories: something that is already gone, something ahead in the future, which is doubtful, and the present time, which is very, very tricky. That is tricky, because we don't know what present actually is, because oops, and what I've just said is gone in the past. I haven't said it yet. We haven't finished it yet. So it's in the future. Actually, it's a mathematical dot, present. We cannot live like this because present is essential. So we take it as something bigger. For example, we're having a webinar now, right? Take us at least an hour to be present. Or I live in Moscow, which is a big thing, yeah? Taking years ahead if I live for that long, or if I don't move to another city. And some years in the past, or the sun rises in the east, which takes billions of years, right? And it's again present. So what is present? A very doubtful thing. So we apply, to be precise, we use tenses, and there are 3, the simple, continuous, and the perfect. And you can make perfect from continuous and perfect from simple. It's very easy. 3 tenses, coping in 3 times. Whereas in Russian, we have an insufficient model of tenses. We have 1 2/3. The system of tenses in Russian is ruined. How we live, I just have to wonder, right? Everybody does. Articles are absolutely regular, and prepositions are regular too. So today we start with the very important thing, so the most important, the essential thing, the order of positions. It's not the fixed word order. So that's what I didn't complete properly on the right. It's not порядок слов. Это порядок позиций в предложении. The order of ideas packed into phrases or clauses. And when you play these bricks, writing academic English becomes very easy. So we start here. As words are not important, right? We will start with, so here it is. So you see, порядок важен, но не слов. Okay, we'll see how it works. So let's start with very, very basic things. The order of, say, maybe even words, but you will immediately see that it's not words. Yeah. For example, building up a sentence of a very, very easy content, right? Just for children, right? Despite whatever childish language I'm using now, whatever primitive the sentence can be, it is like algebra. You can substitute it and you will see it with any academic vocabulary. Okay? Can you switch on your microphone and build up a sentence, please? Come on. How do you start? Switch on your microphones.
I think it will be a new school, a building in our town next year, but I don't know where we can use they.
A new school is our? Who is building?
They.
They are building.
So they? Yeah?
They are building in our town, a new school in our town next year.
There is only one way. You cannot say they are building in our town a new school. And mind the color. I will be using it throughout the webinar. There is the subject, which is blue. Yeah. So look, there is another variant which students need typically produce. Next year, they are building a new school in our town. Do you think it's correct too? Is it correct? Next year, they are building a new school in our town. Is it okay? Yes, no?
Yes.
You think so?
Is that okay?
In written English, you are mistaken. Look, This is how ideas are connected in English. There are no cases. For example, if I say, Маша любит Сашу. 1, 2, 3. Маша любит Сашу, right? Саша любит Машу is the opposite thing. But Машу любит Саша is also possible in Russian, but not in English. Because Машу или Маша will not work, right? So either Masha loves Sasha or Sasha loves Masha, right? So they, the subject, then comes the verb, then what they are building, yeah, the object, then where, then when. And this is essential. So it's no one's ideas, yeah, colleagues. It's no one's idea. Nobody invented this order. It is the logic of the language itself. And languages are not humanities. Language was never developed by man. Man was developed by language. It's the basis of reasonable thinking. It's in the left temple of the brain, yeah, and somewhere at the rear. Look, if we had for disabled children, where would you insert this? Please use this phrase somewhere in the sentence. So you start the same, they are building. How do you continue? Come on, switch on.
Let me try.
Yeah.
They are building a new school for disabled children in our town next year.
Absolutely. This is the first object, this is the second object. How are they different? Here is the preposition. Prepositional objects go next, but not because there are no rules in the language. No rules. There is only the pure logic of how to connect ideas. Look, this is prepositional, this is direct. And you don't need to memorize because this is, look, we now have position number 1 is the subject. Who does what? Yeah. Does what is the verb? Yeah. What he or she does or whatever, yeah, is the object. For example, I'm reading a book, right? Or citizens develop skills, whatever. A prepositional object follows. For example, I showed this photograph to my friend. Can I say 1, 2, 4, 3? Never. 1, 2, 3, 4 is okay. I showed 3, the photograph, to my friend, prepositional 4. If I want to say vice versa and finish with the photograph, because the last position in the sentence is most interesting for the listener or reader, right? Then I say, I showed my friend the photograph. 1, 2, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, 3 doesn't break the order. 1, 2, 4, 3 is impossible. You don't count 1, 2, 5, 3, 6, 4, right? You say 1, 2, 3, 6, 17, 25, right? Some positions might be missing, but you should put them in order. Now, how do we know that place and time come this way? Often Russian students and Russian researchers say, why do we have time last? There is no logic in it. In Russian, we can say they are building a new school next year in our town. Nope. But why? I will explain today. Look, remember that other variant. Next year, they're building a new school in our town. In speaking, you will say, okay. In writing, you need something. What is this next year? Is it the subject? Nope. What do we have to do? The last position is in our town. We need to show that it does not belong to the sentence. It is before the subject. It cannot be the subject. It should be punctuated. Look, it is punctuated with a comma. anything that comes before the subject is punctuated. Anything. According to Richard Rose, comma is запятая, right? Comma. Public policy is a series of actions, blah, blah, blah. Okay? Or in 2013, comma, right? Something started to develop. Or in 2021, comma, right? The COVID infection will be fought, right? Okay? So we punctuate it and it does not belong to the sentence. But this position is very important. It connects the whole text. For example, if we say next year they're building a new school in our town, then we say last year they built nothing. And in 3 years' time, they promised to build a museum. Yeah? Can you write the sentence like this? Can you? Colleagues, switch on your microphones, right? Let's communicate. Is it possible to write like this? Come on.
I think it's not correctly.
So what do we need to do? If I say it like this, with a comma, everything is all right.
Yeah.
In our town, and we start the sentence with they. We start the sentence with they. Whatever is before the subject is punctuated. It's like, parentheses, как в скобочках. Right? You don't have the first скобочка, bracket, because it is the beginning of the sentence. But the second is shared. So commas are like brackets. Okay? Look, here it is. Subject, verb, object, object. There is no place in this sentence. Subject, verb, object, place. There is no time in that sentence. Now, whatever we take and place before the subject should be just punctuated. And that's all. Can we write a sentence like this? Come on. Tatiana Maria.
For disabled children, common. They are building a new school.
Yeah.
It's correctly.
This is correct. Look, if we say next year, then we say last year, 3 years ago, right? If we say in our town, they are building a new school for disabled children, then we say in your town, they are building nothing. In Moscow, they are building churches. This is how the text will be connected. In Moscow, the COVID infection spreads quickly. In the Yamal region, they have the lowest rate, okay? In Ryazan, it is reaching the peak this month, okay? So that's how we connect sentences. Or for disabled children, they are building a new school. Give me another sentence in this context. Like next year, last year, in our town, in Ryazan, for disabled children, they are building a new school. For the elderly, they are building a recreation zone. For athletes, they are building a stadium. Get it? We can even have the direct object there, right? John, I love, okay? But it would be very emphatic. So here we have only the direct object and no prepositional object in the sentence. This phrase for disabled children connects the text. So like according to Rose, public policy is this. According to Friedrich, public policy is that. And according to Ivanov, public policy is inexistent. Okay, so we just take whatever phrase connects the text logically and punctuate it. That is the first paramount idea, to pack your text logically. You see how sentence building connects the text at the basic level. Now, let's have a look at another thing. There is one phrase and only one. There is only one exceptional order that you are aware of, that you know, which helps us introduce subject last. For example, in Russian I can say, и вдруг мне навстречу несется огромный, страшный, How can I say it in English if I begin with the subject? Огромный, страшный, несется мне, right? Look, there is one way to introduce subject last, because in sentences like, in the library, comma, I met John. What is new and interesting? Oh, John, right? If I say I met John in the library, it's important where, not in the pub. If I said I met John with Mary, not with Jane, okay? So I met John 3 days ago. It's not yesterday. So how do I introduce it? So the last position in the sentence is the most important. The newest information for the reader. So, на остановке старичок. How do you say that in English? Ой, а на остановке стоит старичок. You know this phrase? А под столом кошка. А в России беспорядки. How do you start such sentences? Yulia, you wanted to say? Tatiana, Maria, Olga?
I can translate and use старичок in the end of
Old man.
sentence.
Okay? There is an old man at the bus. So if we are standing by the bus stop, there is an old man standing by the bus stop. Here, colleagues, there is never anything that breaks the English word order, position order. And this is the only one exception for the whole language. When you want to have subject last, an old man is last. There is an old man subject. Is the verb which comes before the subject. And there is place. So place is number 5, remember? Right? 5, 2, 1. There is a man. You can substitute there with any other place. Right? In the middle of the road stood a policeman. And this is correct. There was a policeman. Or in my favorite chair sat a dirty dog. And here you are. И в моем кресле сидит грязная собака. Окей? Но грязная собака сидит в моем кресле. Тогда будет, где сидит собака? А вопрос, кто сидит в моем кресле? In my favorite chair sat a dirty dog. Yeah? In the house was a group of strangers, right? Now look, add this with an umbrella. Switch on your microphones. There is an old man.
With an umbrella?
Yes, standing by the bus stop. Why do we have first with an umbrella? It's an object. Number 4, prepositional. Standing by the bus stop is place. Place is number 5. Now, okay. Make a sentence. There is a big dog.
I don't know what is carrying a bone.
Несущая.
Carrying a bone, running out of the stop.
Видите картинку с косточкой в зубах? Можно сказать с косточкой, а можно сказать несущая косточку. okay, carrying a bone, okay, aircraft carrier, да, авианосец, carrier, да, несущие самолеты. So, and look, there's a big dog. A big dog is 3 words, and it's one subject. You see, it's not word order, it's position order. A big dog carrying a bone is the subject, right? Bigger. We make the subject even bigger. Running out of the shop is place, carrying a bone is object. Вот то, что с косточкой, with a bone or carrying a bone, never mind the grammar. This is an object. Running out of the shop is place. Running out of the shop, 5 words, is one thing, place. You see? We play positions. Now, a woman. Build up a sentence.
There is a young woman with long hair standing outside the shop.
The shop. Yeah.
Oh, shop.
Okay. So again, and you are right, with long hair is object, standing outside the shop is place. Now, okay.
Maybe someone else want to try.
Maybe. Okay, if there are no volunteers, come on.
There is fat man with a knife in his hand.
Knife in his hand. Nож.
Knife in his hand, running after the dog.
Running after the dog. Running after the dog is place, right? Это куда? Где, куда, какая разница? Where? Да? With a knife in his hand is object, prepositional. Or carrying a knife in his hand is also possible, right? Holding a knife in his hand, that's not carrying. Hold — это держать, да? А carry — это таскать, right? Он не таскает ящики, он держит нож, right? Holding a knife in his hand. All the same, it's not running after the dog with a knife, but with a knife running after the dog. Now look. A man saw a dog. Subject blue, remember, verb red, and the green object. A man, which man saw the dog? Remember the first man? So we specify this man. An old man with an umbrella standing by the bus stop saw a dog, right? Now, colleagues, an old man with an umbrella standing by the bus stop is the subject. When we say there is, the subject comes last. Here the subject comes first, right? Because it's an ordinary sentence. Subject, verb, object. Which dog did he see? Большая, с косточкой, бегущая. Right? Aha. Thank you, Olga, for communication. You can all switch on your microphones, right? So you're welcome. Subject, verb, object. There is no punctuation in this sentence, and there cannot be, because which man? An old man. 3 words. With an umbrella. 5 words, 6 words. Standing by the bus stop. An old man with an umbrella standing by the bus stop, not the fat man with a knife in his hand saw the dog. He also saw the dog, but the context is different, right? Now, another man frightened a woman. Did the old man frighten a woman? No. Who frightened the woman? Another man.
With knife.
Thank you, Tatiana, for switching. The man with the knife in his hand running after the dog frightened the woman. Okay? Which woman did he frighten? A young
woman with long hair.
With long hair.
And no punctuation, because you have only 3 positions in the sentence. A fat man with a knife in his hand running after the dog is the subject. Frightened is the verb. A young woman with long hair standing outside the shop. Not the woman crossing the street. Not the woman with a child driving in a car, right? But the young woman with long hair standing outside the shop. That's how you build English sentences. Look, if we say, we build any academic sentence, we should follow this rule. Subjects can be big. Objects can be big. The verb is typically short. We cannot make a verb very long because in academic context, it's typically present simple. Is, are, means, implies, contains, presents. The academic paper we are discussing, subject, presents, verb, one word, facts that have never yet been proven. Okay? What presents what? The paper presents facts. The academic paper we are discussing today presents which facts? Facts that have never been proven before. Okay? Or even greater, look, one reason why the English language has so many words from other languages is that people from different countries have come to live in Britain. Subject, verb, object. The verb is and no punctuation. One reason why the English language has so many words from other languages is that people from many different countries have come to live in Britain. Subject, verb, object. So the subject, now let's see. A sentence is a constitutional monarchy. Americans speak English, Australians speak English, New Zealanders, Hindus in India, whoever. It is English. And it is constitutional monarchy. Because there is always the king and the prime minister. If you play chess, you know, if you play chess, шахматы, right? If you don't play chess, you still know that you cannot play without a king. What does a king do in a constitutional monarchy? Nothing. Nearly nothing. Right? There is the representative function. If there is no king, there is no monarchy. The political system implies the monarch. There should be the king or queen. If the queen dies one day, somebody will be king in her family. Her son, her grandson, right? If there are no children, then the nephew, the brother, according to the line of succession. But the king should be there. You play chess, you don't move your king. You don't play with the king. You play with the prime minister. And the prime minister is the most important and powerful. Unfortunately, in Russian, you often miss the verb. Even giving definitions. Если я по-русски скажу, даже в определении должен быть глагол. Даже в русском языке. Когда вы ставите тире, вы вычеркиваете глагол. Об этом я говорю в своих русских семинарах. В английском языке тире вообще недопустимо. То есть, mind your verb. Социология тире наука о. Социология является наукой. Да? Другие определения будут. Это предполагает, включает, находится в, состоит из, мало ли какие глаголы бывают, представляет собой. If you miss the verb, you miss the whole essence. What is it? Is it is or can be or implies or means, right? Or looks, seems. You don't use looks or seems in academic context, but generally, what does it do? So the verb is the most powerful. In playing chess, it's not the queen. I'm sorry. Шахматы изобрели не европейцы. Никаких королев там не было. Это премьер-министр, визирь, ферзь. Ферзь правильно? Queen appeared when Elizabeth was on the throne. Да? когда адаптировали шахматы к европейскому контексту, учитывали контекст того, что 50 лет на троне сидит Елизавета. Okay? Ну, 40. Okay? So, to please her. She's the most powerful, right? Ничего не меняется в самих шахматах. Вот это вот премьер-министр, визирь, ферзь. А вот это король, который мне играет. Который, дай бог, на одну клеточку может подвинуть. Султан. Сидит себе на подушке. Okay? So, look, and there can or cannot, may not be other positions in the sentence. For example, I understand is a sentence. Children play is a sentence. The government conceded a sentence. But the government conceded to accepting the new law. Yeah? Or the children play tennis. Yeah? So we have the parliament, and it consists of the house of objects and the house of adverbials. Две палаты в парламенте, да? Парламент на каникулах, да? А вот премьер-министр и король никогда, да? Монарх, даже если он малолетний, или не в себе, или вышел из ума, right, или болен, never mind, he never works. But the prime minister should be there. So, direct and prepositional objects. Why? And now I will tell you why. Because place also typically has a preposition. For example, in my pocket, on my head. Это на чем или где? А какая разница? In my pocket. Это в чем или где? На столе на чем или где? In the street is probably ни в чем, конечно. А где? In the country. But generally, at the stadium, at the desk, by the computer, it has the preposition. Places work with prepositions. By, at, in, out, from, to, it's all places. And prepositional objects tend to be very near, right? You can mix them up, like in the pocket, on my head. Never mind, it's 4 or 5. Let it be there. Direct object can never be mixed up with place. I am reading a book, это никогда нигде. И никак, а что? Okay? But time is different. When I say on Christmas, on the 25th of January, or in the morning, in September, это ни в чем. In September, это ни в чем. А когда? On the 25th of February, это только когда. А ни в чем, ни на чем. On the 25th, на чем? Ага. On Christmas, на чем? No. When? Time is independent. And time can be 3 years ago, right? Which has no preposition at all. But time can be expressed with clauses. Clauses – это такая штука, которая содержит свой subject verb. For example, when he apologizes to me. Когда он извинится. When he apologizes – это время или условие? Ха-ха-ха. Time can be mixed up with positions number 7 or 8, which is conditions, purposes, reasons, etc. So if he apologizes, when he apologizes, unless he apologizes, before he apologizes, is it time or condition? Is it reason? You see? So because she was hungry, after they left, after, before, until, unless, followed by subject verb, these are positions which are after 6, right? Or can be mixed up. So time should be close to these, and place is connected with prepositionals. You see? It was never invented by man. It was not written as a rule. It's the language itself in its logic. Unfortunately, the Russian language allows any order. And when you start writing without thinking, logical thinking, you miss your text both in Russian and English. The more complicated the text, especially in academic context in Russian, the more mistakes you make in the logical connection. And when you transfer this into your English writing, you are totally ruined. You see? If you transfer English positions into Russian, you build your text perfectly in academic Russian, about which I give seminars in academic writing in Russian. На русском языке такой курс есть. И там видно, что русский синтаксис ничем не отличается от английского, если логика нормальная. Окей? Является, стоит. Более того, вы, когда оперируете этими блоками, у вас все становится на место. И вы знаете, что последняя позиция, она является самым главным. Что, например, менеджера по персоналу. Точка. С чего начнется следующее предложение? Вы что новое сказали? Менеджера по персоналу. Например, входит в обязанности менеджеров по персоналу. Значит, следующее предложение начнется не с «они», простите, а прямо так. Менеджеры по персоналу отвечают за... Окей? Да? Или тогда в различных регионах России. Точка. Да? Position number 5. Так в Москве, запятая. In Moscow, comma, okay? Subject verb. In Рязань, comma, subject verb. In Britain, comma, subject verb. Okay? Now, just a little bit of practice in the end, because we have a few minutes more. Look at these mixed up sentences. Build the first one, please. I can hear Olga, Maria, Tatiana join, right? Yulia. Build the first sentence. Subject, verb, object, if you think so.
Everything went perfectly on the big day.
Because on the big day is not new information. The most important information that it went perfectly. Big day is not a date. The big day is something that you were looking forward to. For example, your wedding day or your coronation day, your diploma day, okay? Your dissertation defense day. On the big day, whew, everything went perfectly. Everything went perfectly on the big day. So on the small day, no. On the big day, comma, and you finish with perfectly. Build the second sentence. It's a question.
Так.
Так.
Ой, извините, я же в микрофоне.
Okay. Like this, to make the long story short. Can you give me a list of who's been invited? Смотрите, коллеги, ни один европейский язык, в других европейских языках тоже есть или падежи, а если нет падежей, то есть спряжение. И есть еще всякие прочие штучки, которые нужно, если вы учили немецкий, да, там есть род, да, другие языки. И они все какие-то не очень, да, где у них глагол стоит, можно чего-то менять. И большинство языков делает инверсию на глаголах, на вопросах, да. Говорите ли вы, то есть 2-1 по-французски, parlez-vous français, sprechen Sie Deutsch, да? Что мы делаем? Глагол, субъект, verb, subject. В английском языке это недопустимо. Как было you give, так и есть you give. Can you give? Кто задает вопрос? Вспомогательный глагол. Его надо вынуть из глагола и поставить на нулевую позицию перед субъектом. Тогда никого спереди мы больше не ставим. И говорим I should go. Should I go? Все равно раз-два. Сначала король, потом премьер-министр. Do you speak English? А не speak you English. Окей? So can, просто вспомогательный глагол, чтобы вопрос показать. You give me a list to me a list. 3-3 как раз, да? He showed him the photographs. Can you give me a list of prepositional, of who's been invited? Of who's been invited, это объект. Какой? Prepositional. From who's been invited, about who's been invited. Can you inform me about who's been invited? Yeah? Or who's been invited is not important. Да, кого мы пригласили, не важно. Right? Build up the next sentence.
Where is subjects?
What is the subject here, Tatiana?
Yeah.
I don't see.
Here you are.
To show your bad sides to others can sometimes be hard.
Yes. To show your bad sides to others, это и есть субъект. For example, smoking is dangerous, or smoking is killing yourself. Okay? To smoke is to kill yourself. Курить означает убить себя, right?
Right.
Курение – это самоубийство. Smoking is suicide, yeah? So to show your bad sides to others, infinitive, dear colleagues, the infinitive is not a verb. Infinitive answers the question what. For example, I want a cup of tea. Я хочу что? I want a cup of tea. Or I want to have a cup of tea. Or I want to go home. I want to leave the classroom. Я хочу что? Что? You see? So, то, что может быть или субъектом, или объектом. Like here, to show your bad sides to others can sometimes be, чем мы можем удлинить глагол? Только наречием. Can sometimes be, can certainly be, right? Hard is the object. She is a girl or she is beautiful. Какая разница? She is what? В русском языке есть слово «какой», оно немножко сбивает. Не какое, а что. She is a manager or she is efficient. Какая разница? Это объект. Okay? So, the next sentence.
Maybe able to confide is being able.
Not to confide in one another. Confide, fidelity. Это trust, верность, да? Доверять, доверие. Being able, то есть быть в состоянии доверить себя другому, да? Поведать ему свои секреты. Being able to confide in one another, это subject, is what? An important component of true friendship. Можно сказать, что of true friendship это number 4. Sorry for mixing Russian and English, right? But 1, 2, 3, okay? The next sentence.
Asking.
Наоборот. Только откройте рот на корабле, и вам уже мало не покажется.
To argue. Yeah.
To argue with the captain. Не вообще to argue, а to argue with the captain. Was asking for trouble. Я хочу обратить ваше внимание, коллеги, я понимаю, что устали, давайте по-русски скажу. ing form. Может быть, ing это тоже что? Да? Например, smoking, smiling. I like her smiling. Yeah? Мне нравится ее улыбка, да, как она улыбается. Какая разница? I like what? Smiling. Yeah? Writing is essential in English, right? So, infinitive – это словарное определение. Это, грубо говоря, имя, понимаете, имя, noun, имя существительное. Инфинитив – это имя действия. Именами никто не действует. Имена делают что-то, да? То есть, вот почему Гамлет говорил to be or not to be, to die, to sleep. Да? Быть, не быть, умереть, заснуть. Убить, да? Угробить, ограбить, изнасиловать. За это в тюрьму не сажают. Это название действий. To kill, to murder, to terrorize, to rape, to steal or not to steal. А вот stealing – это процесс, который можно понюхать, увидеть, пощупать. Вот почему мы говорим I hate washing up. Терпеть не могу мыть посуду. Мытье посуды, вот сам процесс, да? Washing up. To do, to be, to sleep, to have – это название. Они никакого ужаса, никакого чувства не вселяют. Чувство вселяет ing form. I love sitting by the fire. I enjoy meeting my friends. Чувствуете? I like to visit the dentist twice a year. Or I like visiting the dentist twice a year. Как думаете? I like to visit the dentist, or I like visiting the dentist. To visit the dentist. Надо, значит, надо. Пойти и показывать зубы дважды в год. А вот visiting the dentist, простите, I don't like. Это мазохист скажет. I love visiting the dentist. Drilling teeth, you know, I enjoy drilling teeth. Нет. Да? To keep fit. Или keeping fit. Всем нравится to keep fit. Хорошо быть в форме. Ну, чтобы вот это вот keeping fit, это надо dieting, going to the gym. Okay. So, look at the next sentence. Subject, понятно. Subject, I. What did I do? Took.
I was.
I took it.
I took it from.
From what?
Shelf.
I
took it from.
Это только думал я, что это полка.
What?
В темноте-то from what I thought was a shelf. In fact, it was a dog's shoulder. В темноте нащупал, да, там, ой-ой-ой, мама дорогая, да? I took it from what I thought was a shelf. I didn't know it was you or something. Number 7. Caesar. What was obvious? Obvious очевидно.
Was. Caesar was. Obvious.
Цезарь не мог быть очевиден. А вот смерть, то, что он умер. То, что он был мертв, вернее, да, потому что его убили. Right?
Caesar was died. Нет.
That's Caesar.
That Caesar was dead.
That's Caesar.
Caesar was dead будет независимым предложением. Тогда точка. А что вот это было очевидно? That Caesar was dead was obvious to all. This is English. И знаете, сколько отсюда открывается? то, что вы пишете очень часто по-английски it is difficult, it is interesting, it is important и так далее, ваша грубейшая ошибка. Ищите правильный субъект. Например, dealing with COVID infection is essential. А не it is essential to deal with the COVID infection. Да? How the government works is interesting. А не it is interesting to know how the government works. What people say is important to know. Not it is important to know what people say. You see? Why the government did not act upon this issue remained a puzzle. Why the government refused to act was not clear. Почему правительство, да? So, and no punctuation. And the last sentence here. Now you know infinitives. Yeah? Еще кое-что надо вынести вперед перед субъектом и запятую поставить.
Maybe the most dressing.
Комма.
To most young people. Dressing.
Dressing to look how?
Seems like
Here you are. To most young people, потому что не всем это характер. Не всем это. Dressing to look like their friends, subject. Seems to be verb. The surest way to be accepted. You see? To some young people, it is not so important. To young children, dressing is disastrous. So, to adults, dressing to look like their friends is funny. Взрослые не одеваются, когда... Правда, да? Обратите внимание на to look like their friends, а не dressing like their friends. Dressing like their friends будет у него черная косуха, у меня черная косуха. А вот то, что мы в принципе ходим в косухах, это dressing to look like their friends. Я одеваю не вечернее платье, а косуху. Она у меня другая, она у меня желтенькая, там, например, или еще какая, да, там. У меня не такая, у него молния такая, у меня сякая, да, там. В принципе, в майке и джинсах это уже to look like my friends, а не в платье, да, и не в балетных тапочках, да, а в кроссовках. А вот чтобы такие же прям кроссовки, как у него, это только вот у 4-летних будет, да, там, я тоже такие хочу желтенькие, да. Вот to look like their friends, not like their, dressing like their friends, это будет подражание. To look like their friends, чтобы выглядеть как люди вообще, как достойные люди. You see? And if we, I'm sorry, I have here another exercise, but I believe we are out of time, yeah? This is an exercise on punctuation. Коллеги, если вы все еще здесь, мы можем прямо сейчас вот этим пропунктуировать, займет это у нас 3 минуты.
Да, давайте.
Давайте, это уже контекст это уже не, ну, тоже алгебра, да, но немножечко поакадемичнее, да, ну, будем говорить, повзрослее, да. Я брала совсем простые выражения, да, про старичка, про школу, чтобы вы поняли, как алгебра работает, да, вот это А, вот это Б. А теперь берем и идем в бухгалтерию, применяем эти формулы в цифрах, да, где ставим только одна запятая перед субъектом. Punctuate anything before the subject. In the first sentence, where is it, the comma?
After fact book.
After fact book.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Куда? Yes, in the second.
After intern.
Yeah, as an intern, в качестве интерна, да?
In 2016.
Yes. То, что русские постоянно забывают. Все, что угодно. Вот дата ли, или все, нужно обязательно поставить запятую. Окей? Four,
Argument.
Argument.
after argument.
Argument.
Five,
For centuries.
for centuries. People
For
believe.
centuries.
Yeah? Иначе будет centuries people. Argument person. Нет падежей, нет понимания. The next.
System.
After system. Да? Юпитер это у нас subject. Seven.
After technique.
After technique.
Techniques, right? Иногда по-русски мы ставим там запятую, но благодаря каким-то правилам. А в английском языке это просто-напросто все что угодно. The next.
After 1969.
1969. Although, хотя. Кстати, об это слово почему-то отвлекается. Although это хотя или несмотря на то, что. А некоторые пишут although, запятая. И дальше пошло что-то. Как это although? Хотя, запятая. Что?
Слово.
Хотя вот это, запятая, да? Although children's literature, бла-бла-бла, запятая, да. Окей, number 9. After?
Position. After
Most
position.
position.
Candidates might demonstrate, yeah. To be considered, candidates must demonstrate. And
After capital.
after capital.
After capital. Yeah.
That easy. In fact, with my next seminars, I will proceed with punctuation, how to connect sentences together. In this particular sessions, which I'm very glad you attended. So how do we start writing English? We rule the constitutional monarchy, looking for the subject and verb. If you miss the subject, you are mistaken. If you miss the verb in the second position, you are mistaken. So there must be the subject and verb, and respecting the comma, comma, you will manage to rule the sentence. This is the course. This is the picture we had. This is the logical grammar connecting things in English. Nothing is illogical in English. Nothing, absolutely. Probably because of that, it has become the global language of communication. Ни тебе рода, ни склонений, ни скреплений. Нормальная система tenses, а в русском языке она разрушена. Мы живем в очень красивых руинах на русском языке. Знаете, как это? Я такой древний бомжик, который живет в развалинах своего замка. А? Там, а где у вас, например, там приходит человек, говорит, где у вас туалет? Сейчас. Надо перелезть через эту стеночку, потом там продраться через кусты. Ну, чуть-чуть левее, там, вы смотрите, дырка будет. Вот вы в нее не лезьте, а залезьте вот туда. Вот. Так, где у вас туалет, когда у вас классическое здание, как английский язык? Третья дверь направо. Прямо по коридору. Все. Понимаете разницу? У нас очень, когда у нас преподаватели русского языка говорят, у нас очень красивый язык, я говорю, с чем вы сравнивали? Что красивая руина, да? А это не руина, это живая руина. Мы в ней живем и говорим. Как мы говорим? Уму непостижимо. Как мы, когда вы начинаете учить язык, в котором есть род, вы начинаете возмущаться. Почему у них окно женского рода в итальянском языке? Во французском тоже, а в русском среднего. А у них вообще нет среднего рода. В немецком есть средний род. Но у них стол мужского, как у нас, да, а во французском женского. Почему? А в английском не надо думать. Нет рода у вещей, нету. Как англичане cope with other languages, I don't know. That's what we learn English. So any questions? So I skip the demonstration to answer your questions. Any questions?
Ну, по теме нет, но я позволю себе один маленький вопрос, который меня интересует с точки зрения, там, когда пишешь какую-то коротенькую пояснительную записку. Когда я рассказываю о том, что я научный сотрудник Центра или Академии, какой артикль правильнее использовать, at или of?
Так, коллеги, я только сейчас обнаружила, что нас, оказывается, гораздо больше, чем я изначально предполагала. Так, коллеги, спасибо, что вы пришли. Жаль, что вы не включили микрофон и не поучаствовали. Да? Тем не менее, Оля, я отвечу на этот вопрос, знаете, когда? У меня будет отдельный вебинар по артиклям.
Здорово, я поняла.
Вы увидите, следите за объявлениями центра. Вот Дмитрий подскажет. Короче, это будет на сайте. Это фри. Они у нас как пойдут? Я поясню, я уже перехожу на русский по организационным вопросам. Это серия будет разных таких отдельных точечных вещей. Потому что после вот этого вебинара мы пойдем в более сложную пунктуацию. Последнее предложение, когда у нас есть что-то зависимое. Когда у нас дополнительная информация входит внутрь главной. Например, Loch Ness in Scotland is 38 kilometers long. Это как? Не Лох-Несс в Шотландии, это не главное определение Лох-Несс. Да? Лох-Несс сам по себе. Да? Или Шекспир и his Romeo and Juliet. В общем, короче, здесь может быть, тут будет много чего интересного насчет того, как на самом деле пунктуация должна быть и чего нельзя в английском академическом письме. Да? Это уже мы делаем, мы будем брать академические примеры, да, все более и более серьезные. На этом уровне как бы всем понятно, да? Вот, а по артиклям будет отдельный вебинар. Они будут такие вот как бы тематически точечные.
Спасибо.
Спасибо.
Здравствуйте, и вот такой вопрос. Подскажите, пожалуйста, можно ли будет в записи посмотреть? Не получилось по работе с самого начала подключиться, только вот уже к концу пришлось.
Дима, можно посмотреть будет этот семинар где-то? Я думаю, Дмитрий сейчас, может, отошел или его чем-то отвлекли. Ну, это вопрос будет к Дмитрию. Я думаю, что можно. Сделаем копилку этих вебинаров.
Да, было бы очень замечательно. Вот.
Я думаю, что мы их будем через некоторое время удалять, потому что на самом деле это составная часть курсов ПК, да? Хотя, с другой стороны, ну и что? Кто-то мог прийти на ПК, кто-то не мог. Кто-то ради собственного интереса, а не ради корочки, да?
Да, спасибо большое.
Welcome, Светлана, welcome. Keep on our announcements. В следующий раз пойдем в эту пунктуацию.
Но у меня не вопрос, можно позволить себе спросить, вот знаете, какой момент, когда сама перевожу свои статьи, конечно, в русском языке такие большие цельные предложения, как мне кажется, а когда начинаешь переводить, оно на английском языке выглядит так, что это просто набор каких-то слов, скрепленных вот этим off.
Вот.
Это так
Это
напрягает,
отдельный
я не знаю,
вебинар.
как это
О
избежать.
том, как не было бы этих ов.
Да, да.
Придется, Таня, именно вот в то, чем мы занимались сегодня. Когда вы строите предложение правильно, у вас никаких ов не будет. Но есть еще проблема, как их избежать, потому что на самом деле самый распространенный падеж у нас какой? Родительный.
Так.
Да? Ножка стола, там ручка, там клавиатура компьютера, там Академия народного хозяйства России. Ну, все у нас влечет за собой родительный падеж. Он распространен, все единая семья по сравнению с китайским, например, да, или другими языками. Английский и русский один черт для китайцев. Они не понимают, что такое предлог. Поэтому, но этот ов не должен быть там, потому что в английском языке другие правила управления. Они проще. Чтобы сделать это проще, более того, вы очень часто пишете лишнее. Будет отдельный семинар, который будет называться wordiness. Editing for wordiness, примерно, сейчас рабочий, да? Вот wordiness – это многословие. Вам кажется, что ваше предложение на русском языке очень красивое. Ага, сейчас. Прочесть его обычно невозможно, такое предложение, потому что мы запутались уже. Значит, приходите на русский семинар, вы увидите, как по-русски надо писать, да, вот академическое письмо на русском языке у меня отдельный ПК, да, получите сертификат. Вот за ним охотится больше всего. Сейчас вот в Пушкина, да, я их тоже провожу. Но если вы будете перекладывать, если у вас есть английский базовый, я имею в виду базовый на уровне, ну, хотя бы intermediate, да, для письма. Для письма базовый это intermediate, а не elementary, да? Соответственно, вы сможете опрокидывать это все на русский язык. Почему я это делаю в течение семинара? Я просто показываю, что на русском языке будет то же самое.
Просто у меня вопрос еще в чем заключается? В том, что когда я начинаю разбивать длинное русское предложение на маленькие предложения, чтобы был субъект, ну, глагол, да и объект, у меня получается слишком простые, как мне кажется, даже теряет
Вот в
научный
следующий
стиль.
раз, Таня, мы и займемся тем, как соединять.
Мгм.
И заметьте, я вам уже привела парочку примеров, как в рамках простого предложения академическое предложение может состоять из 7 строк. One reason why the English language has so many words from other languages is that people from many different countries have come to live in Britain.
Отлично,
И ни одной
спасибо
запятой.
большое.
И ни одной запятой. Subject, verb, object, я же показала.
Мгм. Мгм,
Ни
мгм.
одной запятой. To manage the governmental functions effectively, right, comma, the government should imply such and such, such and such, such and such things.
Мгм.
Одна запятая, как раз вот о том, чтобы не надо было, чем меньше пунктуации, тем яснее язык.
Мгм.
Вот об этом будем говорить в следующий раз. Таня, welcome.
Спасибо, спасибо, спасибо. С удовольствием.
Спасибо, Ирина Борисовна.
Yes, any more questions? Yes, Masha. No questions?
No, I have no questions.
Just
So
thanks.
useful for us and for me, who used to write English words in Russian logic, if you understand what I mean.
I understand what you mean. Everybody does, I believe.